Good evening, everyone. Kittens, Toms, whoever's out there listening to us. We've got an amazing lady on tonight, Venus Libido, who will explain more about when I can see her pretty face. So any minute now. Just waiting to find her. So if anyone has any questions for her, then just fire them over and I will ask her. Where is she? Where are you? Stay on because she's epic. Really funny, really interesting. There she is. Hang on a minute. And she comes. Yay!
Hi.
Look at you, looking all glamorous.
Oh, thank you. I literally just did like a quick outfit change. I was like, oh my god, I'm wearing sweats. I better change my outfit.
I know, I haven't even done that. The plan was to wash the hair because I was on a freaking hockey pitch watching a 5-year-old play hockey in the pouring rain while juggling a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. He decided to have a whole cat fight in a mud pool. And if I showed you my bottom half, I've still got the muddy leggings on. Just to like ruin the picture. So
The weather's horrible, isn't it? But
exactly. I've gone slick back, but I've got wine, so.
Oh, you've got wine. I didn't know whether it's okay to have wine. I'm gonna get my wine.
Okay. It's always okay to have wine. It's past 9 o'clock and we're talking about sex.
Okay, I've got my wine.
Someone said, are you guys like cougars? No, I'm 42. I mean, you're 21. I could be your mother, but that does not make me a cougar. Thank you. I'm more MILF, I think. if you're gonna label it, I'd say yeah, I'd go with MILF.
Yeah.
And someone's coming going, Jesus will save you. Honestly, we've got some real good ones watching this tonight.
Oh, I love the comments. The comments are always the best bit. Honestly, it makes me laugh. You just kind of see it out the corner of your eye, and you're like, really?
I know. Often, most of the time they're great, but every so often you get a complete curveball. Definitely MILF. Yes, Paul. Anyway, we're joined by the amazing Venus Libido, who a lot of you know, but amazing illustrator, presenter, mental health advocate, sex educator. What have I missed out? Model, creator.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. That's a good lineup.
Yeah, but I've followed a lot of your art and illustrations for like years, and it's amazing. And there's this, I don't know, I think I've always related to a bit of the anger in it. And there's a bit of the not really angry, just sort of the kind of fuck you, actually being treated like shit, and I'm doing this just to try and push a message across. And so explain where did Venus Libido come from? Like the name, and what was the light bulb moment where you went, this is what I'm doing?
Yeah, I mean, you're completely right. Like a lot of my art comes from anger, like frustration and anger. And that's where Venus Libido came from. So I started her I kind of refer to her as like a completely different person because she is just like my internet name and my presence. But yeah, she started in 2017 after living in London and basically just being treated like shit by men everywhere I went and everywhere I worked. And basically something happened in my last job, and it was just horrific in terms of like sexual harassment and sexual assault. And I just kept seeing it happening, and I just got really frustrated with it. So I started drawing about these things that kept happening to me, and I kept seeing happen to other women. And yeah, I just kept drawing and talking about it online. And then the kind of following came, and people started listening. And this was kind of like the start of when people started getting into Instagram. So I think I joined at like the right time where people were starting to talk about real issues and things that were happening to them in their daily lives. So yeah, she just kind of grew from that, and I just kept talking about it. And obviously the effects of experienced sexual harassment and sexual assault comes with that mental health issues, and wanting to change the way I thought about myself and my body. So it kind of just developed into like this massive, amazing creation of like talking about mental health and sex and my body, and yeah, just that's the story.
Because a lot of people, like we get a lot of people joining Kittens who have come, they've been assaulted, or they've come from rape backgrounds, or forced marriages, or you know, and it goes to anyone sort of outside looking in, that often I'll be like, well, I'll get abuse, or that kind of assumption that, well, it's a complete wrong place for women to go because it's all about sex. So why, if you experience sexual harassment or bad, you know, abuse, would you possibly want to be in a place that's talking so openly about sex? And I'm saying it's reclaiming it, and reclaiming the power, and reclaiming the power, and owning it, and going, no, this is what I want, and it's not about what the man wants. And so we've spent 15 years trying to explain that exactly that to people. So do you get that in what you do? That kind of.
Yeah, definitely. I do get a lot of, and it's never from women, it's always from men, you know, saying, why am I so obsessed with sex when I talk about sexual harassment? It is a comment I get quite often in my DMs from mainly men, but it just goes to show me and everyone else that there's still a lot of learning, and that there's a lot of education, and there's a lot of change that still needs to come from the fact that just because a woman talks about sex doesn't mean she's inviting you in to make those kind of comments about her or her body, or, you know, allowing you to take up her space when it comes to sex. It's about us reclaiming our sexuality and our bodies, and, you know, taking control of it and feeling liberated and empowered by it. Not, like you said, it's not a space for anyone else to take control of. It's about you.
Yeah, wasn't that, I don't watch it because I hate all that crap. There wasn't, I just read about her. There was a girl on Love Island, I think, who was, I think because she slept with a couple of people on it or something, and she was open about sexuality, and suddenly it was like everyone was saying she's a tramp, and she can't be a feminist if that's, and it, to me, that, yeah, because my whole take on it, on feminism, is actually having that, being able to choose, and it's a choice, you know what I mean? It's sort of, that's what feminist is, and a feminist to me is a man or a woman that believes that women have the choice to do what they want in the boardroom and do what they want in their pants, that kind of thing. So whereas you get, and you've spoken openly actually about their cyberbullying and the trolling by other women who don't see, and I've noticed it what was bad 15 years ago and got better in the past couple of years has sort of got bad again. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how you found it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes from a place of not understanding, a place of internal issues, a place of, this isn't about me, this is about you. So whenever I do get, and it's very rare that I'll get other women commenting like negative comments, but I do see it a lot of my other friends, my other like influencer friends who, you know, post pictures of their bodies in lingerie or talk about sex all the time. I do see them get a lot of comments from other women saying like, oh, why do you think it's okay to flaunt your body and all this stuff, like you're just trying to, this is allowing men to make comments about your body. And it's just, I think there's a lot of unlearning and learning to be done there, in terms of like the way we view ourselves. And like someone said, it's about, what did someone say? Being sexual, not being sexualized. I think that's a really good point to make and perfectly sums it up. That's what it's about. Like, we are all sexual beings.
It's that intention, isn't it? It's that when you hear about people, you know, women, girls putting up naked pictures, or, you know, and saying that they're owning it and they're empowered to do it, and they get so much abuse, and people go, well, it's not, they're kind of objectifying themselves, and I always say, well, no, because the intent, you know what I mean, it's how you read into it. But when you look at the intention and the intent of the reasons why people do stuff, and they did that to feel empowered, and they did it because they've reclaimed their bodies, and they've gone through hell, they've had 4 kids, and finally they've, you know, realized their body's a hero, not, you know, not something to be ashamed of like you are in your 20s with your body and stuff. And that you know, that's why they do it. They haven't posted a picture to get thousands of men saying they want to come on their faces type thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of,
Yeah.
it's that. I'm like, well, what's the, you know, what's the intention behind the reasons people do it? Because how people react to it and read into it is everyone else's choice.
Yeah, I mean, I spent so many, I mean, not probably until like 2 years ago, I grew up very ashamed about talking about sex and very self-conscious of my body and standing up for myself when men said disgusting comments to me because I felt uncomfortable. But now I realise, because of the way I see women stand up and feel very liberated with their bodies and what they talk about online, I now have the courage and like I feel confident enough to stand up for myself and say, no, I'm not doing this for you, I'm doing this for me, because this is a way of me showing that I love my body and showing other women that they can also love their bodies as well. Like, this isn't about you, this is about us and me and my body and other women.
Yeah. What have you learned? Because a lot of your, so, you know, when you launched it, well, when Venus Libido came about, the alter ego, and through all that and your experiences, how has it helped you with mental health and body positivity and just owning yourself and backing yourself? Like, how has it helped you, and what have you learned? Or like, what advice would you give to women out there who are struggling with that side of things that you've learned in your journey?
I think the biggest thing that I've learned, and I always say this to people, as much, like, I always talk about how much I hate Instagram online, because it's like constantly censoring me, because I talk about my body and I talk about sex, it's constantly censoring me. But the one thing I say to people, and the one thing that gets me through everything, is the people and the community that I've made through Instagram. Like, I have the most amazing friends, I have the most amazing community of people who talk about their bodies in a way that is so empowering, and talk about sex that is so open and liberating. Like, it's just, I came out as pansexual this year because of the people. I felt comfortable and confident enough to talk about my sexuality because of the people online. So I think the biggest, like the most important advice I could give to people who are struggling is to find people who also talk about the things you want to talk about, who can encourage you. Yeah, who can encourage you to talk about these things openly and in a safe space. I think that's the most amazing thing about social media.
Yeah, it's having, so coming out as pansexual, just to explain, because a lot of people are really confused by all the labels when it comes to sexuality. So explain what pansexual is.
Yeah, I mean, I did a post the other day because it was obviously Bi Visibility like day, and it's just it is hard because there are a lot of labels, and I don't, even though I say I'm pansexual, I don't really like to label myself as anything, because like, being pansexual means you're attracted, or you find you're sexually attracted to anybody regardless of their gender or their genitals or who they are. It's just for me, it's just about energy and whether I like you as a human being, regardless of what you look like or what you have in your pants. Like, it doesn't matter. But yeah, to me, that's what being pansexual means.
That's why I said something to them last week that I thought more people, especially women, are naturally moving into that, actually just falling in love and being attracted to the energy, into humans. I was like, people were like, oh, do you think the future's female? And I'm like, no, I think the future's human. And that's why I've always, you know, thought it might be all about women, you know, that we've kind of, our core is that. But it's always men have always been part of the conversation. They've always been part of KK. They've always, you know, been a big part, and a lot of workshops we do is sort of empowering the men as well. That it's actually, it's just humans. And so who you fall in love with, it could change every day, and it doesn't matter, as you say, what's going on in their pants.
No, it's funny you use the word human, because every time like I address someone or I mention someone or I talk to someone in an email, I always use the word human. It's just like a word that I feel like embodies everybody, and I think it's just an easy way to not single anyone out, because why would you want to do that? But I love just using the word human.
Yeah, no, it's my way. I always go, oh, they're an epic human being. I'm like, It's just, yeah, it's my thing. It's humans. And so what's your aim like with your art when you do it, the messaging you want to get across and how you want people to feel when they see it? Yeah.
I to start with, it kind of just started out of like just sharing my story, but now I think a lot of people find comfort in it. And it's just a way that I've noticed that people always say it makes them feel less alone about the things I draw about, because I'm very honest about what I'm drawing. Sometimes it's quite controversial, but yeah, I think it's mainly just trying to draw the stuff that no one else is talking about, but we all kind of do in the bedroom anyway. Like, I mean, the most popular one I've had was a drawing of a girl getting out of the shower and she's got lots of hair coming out of her bum, because, you know, we just collect butt hair.
It's just
It's
real,
just,
that's the thing, isn't it?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's just real stuff, and it's just drawing stuff that I know it's embarrassing, but we shouldn't be embarrassed about it. Those kind of
Yeah.
things.
All the times when I've done it many times, I think I've shaved my armpits, and because I've been in such a hurry, I've just done one of them. So
Yeah.
you realise that the other one's still like that. That's, yeah. Or as my mum always says, if she's ever in a coma or something, just to make sure that I pluck her chin. That's her
Oh.
one
So
on
funny.
that. Do you know what? It's just normal, isn't it? It's how we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, the real side of it. And you speak very openly about endometriosis. I can't say it. There's a lot of osis
Oh,
in
yeah,
it.
I know.
And so what is that? I mean, where's that stem from? And you're very passionate when you speak about it and educate around it. And is that personal?
Yeah. So I have endometriosis myself, and it's only something I found out I had last year. And I'm so passionate about it because 1 in 7 people with uteruses actually have it. Like, it affects so many of us. So this is why I like talking about it, because most of us think we just have a bad period, when really it probably is not. I'm not saying if you have a bad period you have endometriosis, but you know, if there's things like you're having painful sex, if you have really heavy bleeding, if your periods are bad, if you suffer depression, you probably should see a GP, because you potentially might have endometriosis. But why I'm so passionate about it is because the symptoms are so similar to other illnesses. And for years I just thought, you know, this was normal. And I don't want anybody to go through life not being diagnosed with this, because
What did you think you had? Like, what is it similar to? Just the warning signs if people are fobbed off going, oh, well, you've got this or you've got that.
yeah, I mean, if your periods are like really bad, I mean, my periods weren't really bad, but they were bad enough that, sorry, my dog is itching so much.
So honestly, I've got 2 dogs, and the amount of times they've come up and jumped on my bed, and the whole
Oh,
screen during these chats
you
just
just
starts shaking.
always, when I'm filming, you just want to like lick an itch.
That's
Yeah,
like my
so
5-year-old.
yeah, so endometriosis. So if the main things to look out for is yeah, really bad, painful, heavy periods or painful periods, depression, pain during sex, there's just things like that. But I found out I had it after just having like severe pain, like randomly in my uterus area, and after going to toilet, after going for a wee, I was having lots of pain. And swelling. Like, if you like, I was being told for years I had IBS, and I knew it wasn't IBS because I was also having pain. And yeah, eventually I went to an Eva Pill. So Eva Pill are an amazing charity who talk about all the gynae cancers. So I went to an Eva Pill event, and there was a GP on the panel who was talking about endometriosis, and this was 2 years ago. And I was like, I've never heard of the word endometriosis, and I'm like nearly 30, and all of the symptoms she was saying was very similar to what I was going through. So I went to my GP the following week. I was like, I think I might have endometriosis. And she was like, no, I think you've just got IBS, or you've just got really bad periods, it's normal. So I kept basically getting
Got to keep
fobbed off.
pushing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember hearing on the panel the doctor saying, "Don't leave the doctor's surgery until you get a gynecologist appointment." So that's exactly what I did. I just said to the doctor, I was like, "I'm not leaving this room until you let me see a professional." The doctor gave me an appointment to see a professional, and then the next month I found out I had endometriosis. So, you know, I'm really glad that I pushed for that, because if I'd left it, I would have become infertile.
You've got to
And
push, 'cause it's like with female cancers as well, isn't it? Often it's like bloating or it's IBS, and it's exactly that. Like some of the symptoms you described are symptoms of, you know, of cervical cancer and uterine cancer and stuff. So
yeah,
yeah,
I think the biggest advice for anyone who is like, you know, trying to find a diagnosis is just keep pushing. It's exhausting. And I was going to my doctor every week for a month complaining, like literally was phoning every day saying I'm in pain, and it was exhausting and it was really hard on my mental health. But eventually I was listened to. Like the NHS is stretched, it is so stretched, and it's obviously struggling at the moment, but if something's not right and you are not feeling right, then you need to push to see someone and get it checked. Like, don't take no as an answer, and don't keep being pushed aside.
yeah, because someone's asked, they're out in the US and the doctor won't order the test. Can you provide information on how you were diagnosed? So exactly that. You've got to
Yeah.
push, haven't you?
Yeah, you just, I don't know what it's like in the US, but I have spoke to a couple of people in the US who have asked me the same question, and it is literally just seeing a gynecologist. And the sad thing about having endometriosis and getting diagnosed is you have to have a laparoscopy, which is keyhole surgery. You cannot diagnose it or detect it any other way. You can't pick it up through scans, or anything like that, which is really the worst thing, because obviously then there is waiting lists for those kinds of operations.
No, I didn't realize that. I just thought it was because I had it not like that, but pushed and pushed in my 20s and hadn't had a period for about 2 years, and constantly for literally about 5 years. Doctor thought which is IBS, but it was really bad polycystic ovaries
Oh, okay.
in the end. But it was, you just know, and I was just, this isn't, yeah, it's not
You have to
IBS.
listen to your instinct. Like, if
Yeah,
something's
you
telling you
know.
it's not right, it's probably not right, especially when it comes to your own body, because only you can listen to those internal thoughts, and that kind of, you have to listen to your gut.
Yeah, exactly. And especially with women and hormones, like, you know what I mean? We know.
Yeah,
We
we
know
know when something's
weekly.
not
We
right.
know yeah. When all three of my pregnancies, I've literally known, literally within a couple of days, I've just
Mhm.
woken up boobs within a few days, knowing what someone said. Someone's asked as well. Someone sent in a message um, about when it comes to sex, because as you mentioned, one of the symptoms is painful sex, and that, how, I mean, did you have that? So what, because sometimes there's a lot of reasons, you know, you can have painful sex for different reasons, and whether there's a specific type of pain that can't, yeah, that's linked to it, or
Yeah,
in
I
it.
mean, I never found sex enjoyable. Like, my whole life, I was just like, why is everyone raving about this? This is not enjoyable. Like, I just thought having painful sex was normal. And it was kind of just like, I'm trying to think back now to how it felt, because now for me, sex is amazing because I've had it removed. So my sex life is completely 100% improved. But before it was, just like sore, and I never really could climax or anything like that. I found it very difficult. But as soon as I found out I had endometriosis, I definitely looked into positions that I could do that would be very useful for someone who had endometriosis. So there's lots of information online about, you know, lifting your hips or doing certain positions that will help if you are suffering or you think you may have endometriosis, that will make sex more enjoyable for you.
And also someone asked about, if you know you've got it and you haven't had, you like, you know, removed like you have, so you're sort of living with it at the moment, how do you, with like new partners, have you got any advice on like communicating it and having the conversation without sort of weirding them out? And yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, actually that's a really good question to ask me, because I broke up with my partner of 9 years at the start of this year, and I started dating someone new who's actually sat over there. And I
Holding your dog.
yeah, and I had to have the conversation with him that, you know, I have endometriosis, and, you know, sometimes I'm in a lot of pain and I have lots of swelling, and, you know, they're very understanding of that. So I think it's just, you just have to be confident about talking about what's wrong with your body, because if you don't communicate that, then you're going to have a lot of issues, and you're going to feel very awkward and upset, and you'll probably end up having a lot of unnecessary arguments if you just have that initial conversation around your pain and managing that together.
It's probably similar to just, you know, it's a female problem, isn't it? We're not a problem, but it's inbuilt in us to sort of just lie back and think of England and just kind of be the pleasers and not really communicate what we want. Is that actually, you know, if you're not going to communicate, and also people pretend, you know, on first dates and stuff, and now, you know, someone might be really into sort of being tied up and, you know, bit of BDSM and stuff, but they'll be like, oh, I don't know, and they're all kind of clean cut and twin set crashing, and they're working, you know, making out that they're this little Miss Innocent type thing, and it's kind of, then you get down the line and all the issues come up and they get frustrated, and it's just sort of I just think you just got to be honest from the offset. Because
I think you just got to own it. You just got to own like, your body has faults, and you just need to realize and love your body for what it is, and that you have a body and it's serving you a purpose and it's keeping you alive. And if someone else isn't going to appreciate that, then move on to the next person. Like, that's how but that has come from a lot of learning and many years of gaining that confidence to talk to people about, you know, sex. And when I'm in pain, like, I have learned, like, you know, it's not something you can just gain overnight. You have to learn that yourself. You have to appreciate that and gain the confidence, and it starts with you. Because if you can't start by loving that about yourself, or being open to talk about, you know, like you like being tied up, then that comes from you. And if you can't express that first for yourself, then you can't expect someone else to enjoy it with you.
It's that being vulnerable, isn't it? You've kind of got to put yourself out there, and if they think you're weird and run away, then it's having that confidence, isn't it, to go, well, they're obviously not the right person for me. Which I know during my 20s that I never had that confidence. Oh yeah, dumped all the time.
So, I definitely wish I like hit myself over the head like 5 years ago and said, have more confidence, because it's going to be okay. You're going to be all right.
I know, I look back and stuff. I think I was saying to someone, I think it was on here actually, I can't remember whether it was. In my 20s, I was seeing this barman at some point, and I was so hungover, we'd had a mess on that, so I stayed in his bed, and he'd gone off to work, and then at 2 in the morning he walked in and you've got to get out of here. You can't be in here. I brought my girlfriend back. I didn't know you were staying. And I just went into a spare room, which the house was all being done up, and slept in a rolled up carpet for the night, and then tits it out the following morning. I mean, who does that? You know what I mean? It's like, I look at it going, my God, like the me now would go in and go, fuck, and like go down, nice to meet you, this is what we've been up to and stuff. But no, I slept in a rolled up carpet on a wooden floor all night.
I mean, the shit we go through, honestly, there's stuff that I've gone through, I'm like, I should have just spoke up. I should have just held my ground. Like, honestly, I don't know why we do it to ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. So I was saying, just reading some comments. It's just that from the endometriosis, it, as you said, it's pushing, because the thing that seems to be a lot of women say about it is that not being diagnosed or being fobbed off as having something else going on.
Yeah, you just gotta, if you know something's wrong with your body, you have to keep pushing for it, because otherwise it's going to cause you so much more damage in the long run. I mean, the first time I had my operation, so I've had 2 operations now for my endo, because endo keeps coming back, sadly. You can't cure it. Is that, you know, my doctor said, like, if you hadn't have come in, he said if I'd left it a couple more months, I would have not been able to have children. So, you know, everything happens for a reason, and I'm so glad I listened to my body and I listened to other people who told me to keep pushing for this. So I'm saying this to anybody who's watching this now, who's experiencing any kind of pain, is don't let anyone push you under the carpet, and just keep pushing to be seen, to have someone actually give you a diagnosis for your pain, because pain is not normal. We are told that pain is normal and that we should put up with it, and it's not okay.
No, it's not okay. And I think as women as well, there's so many, you know, there's so much stuff like when you've had three babies, or naturally, you know what I mean, your bits are not in the places they're meant to be in, and there's always tweaks, and there's always little pains, and there's always niggles. And I spend every day, you know, there'll be a niggle here or there, and I'll think, should I get that checked? Do you think my arse is now hanging out my vagina? You know what I mean? It's always kind of, and we're so quick to go, no, it's not an issue, you're fine, you can still walk, and actually just ignore it.
Yeah.
I don't think my arse is hanging out my vagina, by the way, but there's been moments.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we definitely do, like, especially women, like, we do just put up with it because we're told, like, that's just how we are. It's just how we've been brought up. It's just what we see in movies and social media, like, throughout our lives. It's just, you know, our pain is normal. We should put up with it, but it's not. Honestly,
No.
the horror stories I've heard of some women and their periods and the way that their periods are, and they say it to me, I'm like, no, you need to go get that checked out. That's not normal.
Yeah, someone, I can't remember, yeah, someone was talking about, see if I can find it. Hang on, where is it? Oh, yeah, PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Like PMS, much worse. Rarely diagnosed. I'd never heard of it until someone wrote this message. Rarely diagnosed with DOP, severe emotional distress, and even suicidal thoughts is a sign of. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to do with like women's like menstrual health, in terms of like our mental state being very, very linked. So for many years I suffered with severe depression, anxiety, and attempted suicide. And, you know, later on realizing that that could have been linked to my endometriosis just didn't even cross my mind. But now I'm like, oh, that makes complete sense. But, you know, a lot of what happens down below also is affecting up here.
Yeah, because our hormones are so, it's just, so strong.
We just forget about it, and it's completely normal. And but again, this comes down to a lack of education and what we're taught in schools. Like, like I said, I never even heard of the word endometriosis till last year, and I'm 30 next year. And that's not okay, considering it affects so many people. You know, 1 in 7 of us have it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I wouldn't, unless I did a big Google from you talking about it, I wouldn't know the exact ins and outs of it, or the nipples and stuff. And you know, even just like PMT and stuff like that, it's like you're never taught really about it. You might be taught that your boobs get a bit sore the week before, and you might be a bit emotional. It's like my PMT post each baby, I literally now want to commit murder. The few days, like 5 days before, it's like I mix between murder and throw myself in front of a bus. It's like literally, it swings so violently, which I never had pre-kids, and it's just kind of, but it's hormones. You know what I mean? It's all over the place.
I think the most difficult thing is like we do live in a society now where we are all working. We're constantly working. We're very busy. We're very active all the time, so we don't ever give ourselves that break. So, you know, I'm very fortunate that I'm freelance, but I'm kind of learning that, you know, when I don't have periods anymore, but I still have like the hormonal side of having a period. So like, I know that when that kind of time is coming up, and I know a lot of my friends who are freelance do this, is they just take that week off when they're on their period.
Maybe I should do that. Good idea.
Yeah, which is not a luxury that everybody has who has a period. So I think, you know, we did live in a society where that was allowed. We definitely live healthier, better lives because we give ourselves those breaks that we need when our body is going through such a traumatic state.
It's like full moons as well. I am fully moon affected. Like they say some people are very linked, others kind of slide by, but and I still don't realize there's a full moon coming up. I realized 2 days later when I'm like, what the hell just happened? Why did I turn into a crazy person?
I'm getting into the whole moon thing. I know there's a new moon coming, isn't there? Is there a new moon coming?
I don't know. As I said, I don't really notice it until then. I do a Google 2 days after I kill people,
Oh.
and then I go, oh, that explains it. It was a full moon. It's not my fault.
I know there's a new moon coming. 'Cause I've been talking to a friend recently who's into like card readings and is talking about Mars retrograde and how we're in Mars retrograde right now. Why this is why everyone's feeling a little bit off. And there's a new moon coming, so there's like new beginnings for us all. So I think that's like at the in
Good.
November.
That
So
off bit makes sense actually. This week and last week, I've been
yeah,
off like a
yeah. If you're
counselor.
feeling a bit off, it's because Mars is in retrograde.
I'm using
Apparently.
me as my therapist. Someone's put 4 years ago, I left a 17-year marriage. In the last 4 years of being single, I found out who I am as a human, learned to explore and love myself and my body more than my ex-husband did in 17 years. It's so true, but that's a classic example of actually, as women, it's sort of you know what I mean? It's so easy to get in that rut of pleasing
Yeah.
and pushing down your own desires and going, well, because we're learned to, we're taught to compromise and settle and not make a fuss, and you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just
I
sort
think
of,
that's really beautiful to see that message. It makes you really happy because I think a lot of things are changing and we are now moving into like a society where women are not having children and not getting married and focusing on their careers and being very sexually liberated, and I just think it's fantastic. And I think obviously there's a lot of work to be done, but it's amazing that we can all feel like that empowered and that inspired to like discover ourselves and not give a shit about it or give a
that's
shit
the
what
thing,
anyone
isn't it?
thinks.
Get back yourself and own it and not give a shit. But also the importance of, and during like lockdown and the chats we've had sex educators and stuff on it, is that importance of being selfish and finding out
Mhm.
what makes you tick and not having to be in a relationship and even if you are in a relationship, the importance of a bit of self-play and getting the toys out and working out, because if you don't know what makes you tick, then how are you going to communicate to a partner
Yeah,
what makes
exactly.
what
I
make
mean,
what
I do have a lot of people come to me and ask me about, solo masturbation when they're with partners, and I just think I'm all for it. Like I think it's completely natural, it's very healthy, and I just think that it's so important to have you time without your partner being there so you can really explore your
yeah,
body. Like,
and it's so good for you, as in what it releases. It's not necessarily a sexual thing. It's like actually you can be
yeah,
really stressed or you can't sleep, and actually a good old wank, you're
yeah,
like, I'm ready to rule the world.
yeah. No, I agree with you. I think it's very healthy to have solo masturbation, even when you're in a relationship. I think it's really important.
And do you do work with different toys and advise on basically people? Because I basically had lunch with a friend of my mum's and two of her friends, and they're in their late 50s and none of them have any toys, and they were all like, "This is wrong. We need to." And they'd watched some of the Instagram lives, and we're like, we now know we just need them in our lives, and where do we start? And like, what's your advice for people on like where would
I
you start?
I love toys. You know that. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm always promoting toys. Um, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but I do only promote toys that I enjoy, so I would not promote any crap. But I have got like an entire shoe rack on the back of my door of toys. But I think it's just you are going to know whether you are someone who enjoys like clitoral stimulation or vaginal stimulation. So I think it's important to know that first. And my top tip that I always say to someone who's buying their first toy is don't spend loads of money. I would say go and buy something that you're interested in or intrigued trying and that you think you might like, and try that first, and if it works then invest in something that's of a better quality. But obviously don't buy anything too cheap because obviously it'd be made of some terrible material. But
Exactly. Think of the climate and the environment first.
yeah, just do your research before, when you're, and if you're going into a shop, ask and look on the packaging of what it's made from. So you want to make sure you're not buying anything that's got any toxins in. But if you go on my Instagram, I literally have promoted so many amazing toys that are of a decent price, but also really good quality. I don't like to name names when I do lives, but
No, you
I'm
can.
gonna,
Don't worry. Everyone seems to be dropping different
I'm,
brands into chat, so we're fine.
yeah, I'm gonna name a name of a toy company just because the quality of their toys is amazing and they're also very affordable. And I know right now everyone's like probably struggling with money and finances and all that stuff because of what's going on. But there's an amazing company called Nomitang, which is Nomi and then Tang, and they have the most amazing toys. Their wand, yeah, I'll send you a link to them after, but their wand is fantastic, and they also have toys that are really good for what I found for someone who suffers with endometriosis. I don't like toys that go inside me, so I like clitoral stimulation and the toys that sit on the outside of my body. And their wand is fantastic, and they also have this toy called Better Than Chocolate, which is basically looks like a little bike seat, and you just sit on it, and it's really amazing. And they have lots of different sizes. But yeah, I think it's just buying one and trying it and seeing if you like it, and then your collection will just grow from there. But
It's a Pandora's box, isn't it? Once you open that lid and try toys, you're like, right, what else?
yeah,
What
yeah.
else?
But
Although we saw some really funny ones today, as someone sent us a new comment. I've got mind blank. Otherwise, I would name that. That they're these. They literally they toys that are like an arse. They're for guys. They've got guys and girls on, but it's like an arse and all the bits, and you just it's like a masturbator for men. But you can get all different cultures and races and bits. And I was like, and I put it into like our work chat, and our head of tech, his first question came in, where would you keep it? And I was
on a shelf in your bedroom.
Good point. You know what I mean? You can hide dildos in a very discreet little box under a bed, but where do you put like a life-size arse?
I mean, I'm all for displaying all my toys, so I'm not the right one to ask for that, because I literally have mine in a shoe rack on the back of my door so I can see them. Like I just think sex toys in themselves are beautiful to look at. Like I think the shapes and the sizes and the colours are just amazing, and there's so many. Like I wouldn't want to put them away. I just like to see them all the time.
Oh, there you go. Our social media manager, Soph. She's awesome. Geek toys are amazing. They do geeky toys like light up lightsaber and Thor's hammer. Oh, really, Soph?
Oh, I'm gonna look at that.
Have you got a little fun, like, superhero toy box under your bed going on?
Love it. I'm gonna check them out after this. Geek toys. Is that what they're called? Is that what their Instagram is?
Yeah, my husband. If I told my husband that he loves his superhero shit, he'd be like, that'd be like my birthday and Christmas present for every year for the rest of our marriage.
What? I think someone needs to create. Maybe I shouldn't say this out loud. Maybe I should do it myself. But maybe someone needs to make a sex toy that is like PlayStation, Xbox themed, because obviously every guy is obsessed with their PlayStation and their Xbox.
And just no, there'd be too much football shit in my house. If you throw that in the mix. Although we had I can't again. I've got mind blank tonight. That's what happens when you get brain freeze on a hockey pitch straight into an Instagram live chat with wine. We had one where you literally send in photos of the front and like the side of the face. So they basically make a head, and they put it on the end of a dildo. So as you've got the dildo, you just have this face. So I think boyfriends would put their own heads on it, but they emailed in the office asking if they could make one of me, and I didn't realise they were doing it, and suddenly the girls were doing it, and then suddenly this thing arrived, and it looks really lifelike. So it's like me with a ponytail, and so I've got it, and it's like it's never been used because I'm just like, I'm not that much of a narcissist to sit there going, oh, fuck me.
Oh my God. Can you please send me pictures after this? I need to see pictures of
I will. I'll find it, and I'll send you the link to that one because I think that would be quite funny as presents and stuff.
That's such
exactly. It's on the Keiko blog, the Emma dildo, exactly. So I'll find out the name of it. I remember the name of it, but it's really lifelike. It's quite scary, and actually, my kids like the head of that. We gave them the head without it being attached to the dildo, and they're running around going, "Look, it's mummy." So yeah,
that's so good. Cool. Do you know what? Fun fact: before I got into illustration, I was really into prosthetics, so I did a bit of prosthetic building, just like fingers, and I worked a little bit on Madame Tussauds for a little bit. And I always wanted to get into making sex dolls. Like, it was a real big dream of mine to get into making sex dolls. So, oh yeah, if I'd had the chance, I would have done that, because there's so many amazing like manufacturers in America. Like, I watch all the documentaries about them. I think it's so fascinating how they're built. I think it's gorgeous.
We had Kate Devlin on Professor Kate Devlin. She's like one of the leading voices on like sex robots and sex tech and stuff. So she was on the chat on Monday night. It was meant to be last Wednesday, but Instagram did a job on us, like they've done with you, and blocked us for like 48 hours of being able to do anything. So that was nice. So we did it on Monday night instead, and spoke about sex robots on a Monday night with wine. So that was good. But anyway, do you know what? I'm gonna love you and leave you, because you've been amazing. I'm really interested. So thank you. And if anyone's got any questions that they didn't want to ask on here, that they wanted to ask in private, then just send them over. Either send them straight to Venus or send them via us, and we will stalk her for you for an answer. But thank you. You can get back to your dog and your boyfriend now.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I love chatting about.
No worries. Nice to see you. Bye.
Bye.
See you later. Bye. She was awesome, so honest and open. If anyone's got any topics that they want us to cover, because we will hunt down any experts that people want to hear from, then let us know. We've got a really cool New York guy, sex educator, next Wednesday, I think, Todd. But we will see you later. Bye.